everyone. Welcome back again to another exciting episode of What You Know It. You tuned in here, the iConis podcast, where the icon is, hold up, we ain't there yet. As usual, I'm one of your hosts. I'm Barry 3D. Hey, how you doing? Hope life is treating you well. On my side is the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who's going to be making you go and shake up and down all night long, and then you can have to recover 3 days after because you should have gone on that one night of dancing. We get it up there. Here we go. Who am I talking about? The one and only
Rod C. Good day, good afternoon, good morning to everyone out there. Hey. It's another exciting day. It's another exciting podcast. What we got for you? Shh. We'll tell you after these commercial breaks.
Boom. Yes. And here we go. First and foremost, if you got to buy the books, you got to support the books that give us the topics to talk about, that make the movies, TV shows, and everything else. So if you got to go and look for a good bookstore, comic bookstore that is. If you're out in Kitchener, check out Wow Comics and check out Wes, Ramon, Sydney, and Chris. Tell them you heard about them on the iConis podcast, and we said hi. For our friends over in Montreal, please check out Check Swings on the South Shore and tell Trevor, Dom, Pierre, and Pierre that we said hi. And they will hook you up. And if you're a first-time goer and want to get into it, these are good places to start at with these two comic book stores. Everybody else out there, let's be real. We've been asking for it. We haven't seen it yet. If you've got a favorite a favorite comic book store, I hope this is one of your favorite podcasts, one of them. If you have a favorite comic book store that you like to go to, please send us a picture. Let us see it. We will post it up there. Look down below for all our links. You'll see all our social media. Send it to us by Instagram, Threads, on YouTube. You know, in our community tab, we have a community tab where we're active on there. Come on, join us, and any other way you want to send it to us. So we'd be glad to see those and post your names on there. We also have a Patreon page, and we also have a coffee page if you want to do a one-time tip. So please reach out anyway there, and we have media there for you who joined. So looking for that. Also, another friend of ours of the show is Miss Brandy Ford. She has her magazine called The Writer and the Wit. It comes out every month. I know it just started off. It should have been before, but it started off in October. Here we go. We're kicking that off, so it should be out and live right now. Link is down below. And you can catch her, Brandy Ford, at 4680Q, like Q from Star Trek. There we go. .com, so 4680Q.com. And she's on that Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. On Mondays and Wednesdays, her show comes on at 2 p.m. And on Saturday, her show comes on at noon. Keep an eye out for it. She's going to be doing a special show coming out soon enough. Also, keep an eye out for my boys. If you want to see where I'm going to be at, check out barry3d.com. That's my website. It has all my links for everything, including this show, which is weekly, and also the comedy troupe I'm a part of, which is A Touch of Gray Matter, with myself, Zolf Ali, and Dave Sokolowski, where we've just finished our one show over here in Hamilton, 2 nights. Come on, we're going to be other places. Keep an eye out for that. Remember, please subscribe to our page. We're trying to build up our subscribers. So subscribe to our YouTube page, subscribe to our iConis podbean.com page. You can find all our stuff there every week, new episodes, a backlog of episodes to catch up on. And if you too want to do something like this, like we use Podbean, but if you want to do something similar, you're going to need some graphic arts. Only one man to go to. Who could that man be, Rod?
Jaybird Digital Arts.
Mr. Jason Reese, Jaybird Digital Arts. Hit him up. If you tell him you heard about him on the iConis podcast, he will give you a discount. All right. And let's keep in mind, this is a digital age, so this applies worldwide. To our listeners in the UK, our listeners in the States, our listeners in Canada, our listeners, I don't know if you're in the Arctic, if you're in Portugal, reach out. All right, then. So please hit the subscribe button. Please check out some of these people. And remember, you can get stuff shipped out to you too. So here we go. Right on. Rod, very simple. Where can we find you, man?
Ladies, you can find me on the World Wide Web. You can find me on Instagram at Mr. Rod C. You can find me on Twitch at DJ Rod C. And also can find me on TikTok at DJ Rod C1. DJ Rod C1. The number one.
One.
We'll go with that. Let's go.
All right. Here we go. We did our round table because manners make it the man. I love that saying because it works for me. All right. In today's episode, keeping with our Halloween theme, here we go. Last week we did Blue Devil, and now we're going with another demon. Or a demon. I'm not sure. Here we go. The iConis podcast. The icon is
Etrigan the Demon.
Hold on, maybe Etrigan. You mean Etrigan?
I always do that, and I knew it. I'm like, there's no S. So why did I say S?
That's hilarious.
Etrigan the Demon. Sorry, and it's right here in front of me.
Yes,
And I still
exactly.
put
I'm
an S
keeping that
in
in. I'm not even gonna edit it out because that's funny. Etrigan the Demon. That is who we are doing today on the iConis podcast. He is the icon. He is on this show, keeping with our theme. So, DC's got some stuff going on. We're going to keep on rolling with it. Regardless of who we pick, we just pick randomly. We go with it. We love it. So, Etrigan the Demon was made by the King. Woo! Put some respect on his name every time you say it because he's that important to the culture. Hip hop said, celebrated 50 years in the culture. LL Cool J did a whole thing, but there's certain key people that are important to the comic book culture. A lot of people say Stan Lee. I'm not taking away his flowers, but Jack Kirby, for Marvel and DC, they should make this man a bronze statue on both of their fronts of their offices. Here we go. So Etrigan, it came out. His full name is Etrigan the Demon, but the comic book came out as The Demon, issue number 1 in 1972, in September. It's to get okay. All right. I'm having my Earth, Wind, and Fire moment. Okay, I got my shirt that matches. All right, and he was created by Jack Kirby, so he came out, ran for and it wasn't a big run. I think he had only like 12 issues when he first came out. 14 issues.
Oh, 14.
And pardon me?
No, you're right. No, 14.
Yeah, 14. Right. So he came up 14 issues. And this is what is interesting. Sometimes these backstories of how things are created. So let me tell you right now. Settle in, boys and girls. Here we go. When your parents or your family or a significant other says, hey, come and have dinner with us, have dinner. You never know when a moment would strike you, where the idea comes to you, when something comes out. So what happened is Jack Kirby was out with a couple of other fellow people from DC Comics at the time. So at the time, he's over at DC Comics, he's doing his thing, and he's coming up with characters, and he's finally doing his passion project. So he's left Marvel at this point. He's gone over to DC because he started off with the Eternals, and I think I have this right, timeline-wise, or things along those lines, and he wanted to get more like space odysseys. That's what space operas. This is what really draws Jack Kirby. Whether you can see it in his drawing style, you can see it in his writing style. This is what calls to him. This is why he's given us such great space characters, regardless of the ones on Earth. He went, everyone was doing Earth. He's like, I'm going out of space. He was like an astronaut. He was the first man landing on the moon. He was taking it out there. Marvel kept kind of the chains on him. So he's out DC, and he's working on 2 of his passion projects. And one of those passion projects is the New Gods. If anyone knows me, knows I'm a fan of the New Gods. It's Microdons and the New Gods for me. Okay. Anything with the fourth world. Jack Kirby was all behind that. So Jack Kirby is working on those. So he's working on the New Gods. So that's like, High Father, Orion, Light Ray, Barda, right? Mr. Terrific. No, the same time, he was also doing the Mr. Terrific comic book. So he had New Gods, and then his spinoff, I would call it a spinoff for a lack of a better term, is Mr. Terrific, Mr. Miracle, Barda, O'Brien, right? And he was doing those 2 books. Now he's out there with Carmen Infantino at DC, and he's saying, they're having dinner at a little restaurant. Some of them there, and these are saying, oh, well, I want to come up with a new character, someone like, a demon. Right now, and now it's not sure if Carmen said demon or Jack Kirby said demon at this dinner. They're having dinner, and they said they want to do a supernatural character along those lines, kind of get into that scope, because it wasn't enough at the time to dive into it. And they turn around and they say, oh, yeah, okay. So good idea. Yeah. So they're talking. Everyone's talking to Tino, making small talk. And after making small talk, by the time appetizer comes off, Kirby's quiet. Sorry. Yeah. King Kirby is quiet. He's just doodling. By the time the main course got there, or I think they were done. So by the time the main course got there and they finished it, he ate, everyone's eating in silence, having a good meal, and he's still doodling with his other hand. That meal was the birth of the demon. It was done. He laid out, first he had the look. So what we see is the character from issue number 1 was almost like the finished look that Jack the King of Kirby had on this character. Like it was in the rough. It was almost there. Like, color scheme and everything. He had it all there. Then they said, "Okay, Kirby, what's your thing?" Well, here's the backstory of the character. Here's who he is, and he fleshed him out. And he plotted out like ish. So by the end of this dinner, he had the character created. They went with the name The Demon. He had a backstory for the character already, and he plotted out issue number 1.
Listen, that was a good meal. That's all I'm going to say. That's a good meal. Listen, creativity comes in different forms. He was just hungry. And while the food was being made, he came with an idea. Listen, I just found it funny that actually, I don't find it funny. I find it, that's how unique and how special Jack is. That Jack could be like, just taking some ideas and just basically birthing everything, and just like, I'll take a piece of this, take a piece of that, and just form it, jot it all down. And yeah, there's this guy by the name of Jason Blood. And just pause.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. It had the full issue 1, like the origin story, all done, eating a meal. How'd you spend your day? Could you come up with something during the course of a appetizer and a meal and have it fleshed out, ready to go? Well, that's the good news of this, right? Because it's a good news, bad news story. Sorry, there's a fly around my microphone. Good news, bad news kind of story. So the good news is, got it, plotted it, created it. He even turned around, like when he went back in the office, and he said, "Hey," he was reading a lot of this comic there, this character called Prince Valiant. So he even said, "Get me this issue of Prince Valiant because there's something I want to see as reference." And if you look at the issue of Prince Valiant, you'll see Prince Valiant puts on this mask at one point, like a demon. And Jack the King Kirby, turned around and said, "I want this mask to be the look of the character's face when it's actually created." So he's not wearing a mask. He's going to have that demon head with the ears, the yellow skin, the whole 9 yards. So he was influenced by Prince Valiant that he was reading, which was a medieval times comic book at the time. So it's interesting that him as a comic book creator would still read comic books in the genre because he enjoyed them, not because he was looking for inspiration or ideas, nothing like that. He just read it to enjoy it. It's like myself being a comedian, seeing other comedians perform because I like watching what they do. And it's not sitting there going, "Oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that's a good idea." And then not enjoying their show. I could be their total fan for these, right? I can be a total, as I say in wrestling, I can be a total mark for it, and I'm on board, and I'm okay with that. So he did this, got that from Prince Valiant, turned around, boom, 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 started off. Now, here's the sad part of this story. He's like, "Hey, I will maybe do the first couple of issues and pass on the writing and the art, art, the drawing and the writing onto somebody else. I just want to do maybe the first 1 or 2 issues, and if that, go on, because I'm doing finally my passion project that they didn't allow me to do over at Marvel, the New Gods and Mr. Terrific." Carmen turned around and said, "Hey, like what you did. This is interesting. Got a lot of legs to it. You've already fleshed out a lot of the characters, his motivation, his story, side characters. So he didn't just do the demon and Etrigan. He did everything else that was decided that we're going to get into some of it real quick. By the way, the New Gods and Mr. Terrific are not really selling. So I'm going to keep saying Mr. Terrific. Mr. Miracle. Right? I keep saying Mr. Terrific. Sorry. Mr. Miracle. They're not really selling. So we're going to cancel your Fourth World stuff. Therefore, you're free to do the demon." Huh?
What just happened here?
Gut punch. Like, I can't. And he's a strong man. He got over it, but still had to bother him. And for myself, for Rod, you can speak for yourself. I know for myself, if I'm working on something that's a passion project, and then someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, Barry, I want you to do something else," and I'm like, "Okay, cool, I'm into it." And they're like, "Here you go. All right, cool. Let me get back to my passion project. This is where it is." Like if someone came to me and says, "Barry, you're going to do something with Micronauts," or Get Your Man, right? Right? I'm like, yeah. And then they said, well, Barry, we like what you did with, I don't know, Rom the Space Knight, or the Starjammers. So we're going to
Mhm.
cancel the current project you're on so you have more time to focus on that. As a creative, that hurts.
Yeah.
That we're only seeing paper. Mr. Kirby's not alive to dive into some of that stuff, but that had to hurt. It absolutely had to, as I said, a gut punch, right? Right in the
Mhm.
bread basket. Low blow. Ouch. Yeah. Yeah. So it's for us as fans, we got the
Mhm.
demon, we got 14 issues, we got it plotted, created, and followed through by Jack the King Kirby. But then we lost the new gods. We lost Mr. Miracle. You know, that hurts. That
Mhm.
hurts because he was going somewhere with the fourth world. If you read his original run on that, and we're gonna have to talk about them on another time. This is really about Etrigan. So no fault to God, Kirby, no fault to the demon. The characters, it's just I would have loved to have seen more of where Kirby would have taken the new gods and Mr. Miracle. With Big Barda and Oberon. He was going places, son. He was
Right.
going places.
Hmm.
Is right. So hold
Listen.
on. So Rod, and
Yeah.
then of course you can't forget, Forever People. I know that's part of that too. So yes, Forever People also. But all right. So Rod, what do you think about the Demon did you read any of the Demon? Did you just kind of research it?
Not back in the days. Not back in the
Yeah.
days. I didn't start it off because I will admit, the time it was published, I was a wee little lad, very, very wee, very young, very babyish. So I can have read it at that time. But I've come across, and I know the character, later on in life, his interactions with other characters, DC characters along that line. Um, the duality, and we'll get into that, the duality of this particular individual, that is like the yin and yang, where one doesn't. I can think of it like the Hulk type of scenario, that they
Yes.
don't like, they don't like the opposite personality, but in reality, you need the other personality to survive. You need that holistic aspect of it. To me, uh, Jason Blood and Etrigan is the same type of setup.
Oh,
That
absolutely.
the way it is, like, who really wants to? I'll step back and say it this way: if someone were to come and tell you, "Hey, your soul, your life is actually merged and pinned to a demon," let that sink in for a second. That actuality just makes you think, I don't know if I like that. And realizing that in certain times we'll come to what they do for each other and how they are, you realize that they kind of need each other. They need each other. But the duality type of writing, you don't see that, especially at that time. So coming with that type of idea and actually putting some, as we will say, meat on the bone on this, putting some actual depth into this, and being able to flesh out a full character is great. We learned that over the years. This is what he is, and so forth. But realizing that Jack had the ability to come with a good, solid foundation, a good backstory, the character and everything like that, basically over dinner. That's very in depth, and realizing he was just working on all cylinders, 100%. And for that, we salute you and we thank you for that, Mr. Kirby.
Right. See, and you brought up an interesting thing. So, as you talk about the duality about it. So, the comic book was called The Demon. His name is Etrigan. And his opening story, once again, takes place in medieval times. Now, okay, you got me hooked. So you got medieval times. I'm there. Sword and sorcery. I'm there. There's a demon involved. Okay, tell me how this demon's going to be. And that was my first impression. And then you find out that you have, and now it's always been rebooted a couple of things, and there's things I like and not. So, I'll talk about it. So we talk about Jason Blood. So Jason Blood was there in the beginning of Man and Demon. So during this world that he was born into, once again, it was during medieval times. It's at a castle. The castle is being, and it's not, I guess, any castle. No, it's Camelot.
Listen,
that's right. So you go Camelot and Avalon, you go King Arthur, Lancelot, Knights of the Round Table, quest, Mordred. I'm loving this. You know what I mean? It's like
it's giving some real texture. It's giving real texture. It's giving real texture. You could have just said, you could have said a wizard in medieval times and just left it at that, by actually associating with King Arthur and the Round Table, with Camelot and everything along that line. You're now like thinking, oh, okay, this character giving you the plausible possibility. What if this really did happen? What if this really, it's a comic, it's a story. But what if this story actually has some, tangible to myth and lore, and it actually might be, what if this actually did happen? It pulls us in. And that's the great thing about the context of it. It just pulls you in because you actually have a possibility. What if? That's how I look at it. That's how I look at it.
Yes, absolutely. So we know by page 1 and 2 of issue 1, we know it's Camelot. We know it's Morgan Le Fay that's invading. We don't know where the Knights of the Round Table are. Maybe they're out there questing and they're doing a battle. It's the fall of Camelot. So now I'm trying to put this together in my little mind. I watched the movie, and I think that one of the best King Arthur movies out there is the one that had Patrick Stewart in it. He wasn't King Arthur, but it's called a movie called Excalibur. And you can hear about it when I did Back to the Balcony with Jimmy England on his podcast a couple of years back. This is the movie for me, right? Adaptation. I think they did a nice job with it. In there's a whole battle scene where Arthur, the knights leave Camelot. They got to go and fight Mordred. Okay, fine. They're gone. They're fighting. Okay, what happened to Camelot in the meantime? Well, people are smart. He's fighting Mordred. Mordred's going to invade Camelot because the king is gone with the magical sword.
Right.
Who's there to defend it? Merlin? Okay, we got him. So this whole thing starts, and in there it says that demons do roam the earth. So Morgan Le Fay turned around, and she got some humans, she got some demons, and she invaded Camelot, and it was Camelot's last stand. This is Camelot being destroyed. So I don't know if Arthur was away. Is Arthur dead? We don't know at this point. When you retcon it, I think Arthur's still around. Then you get into, Merlin shows up, and Merlin calls forth the demon to help defend Camelot, right? And then bonds him with Jason Blood. So he turns around, and now Jason Blood was there in Camelot. Different takes on Jason Blood. One, he was just a person kind of there as an apprentice to Merlin, and then they kind of retconned it, which I think was a little bit more cooler, where they made him a knight, one of the knights of Camelot. I'm not sure if he was a knight of the Round Table, but he was a knight of Camelot. So I like that idea that he's there in Camelot because you're going to leave some troops behind. He had like red hair. Okay, he's a fighter. He's a knight. Okay, got it. So three guy comes in. He starts fighting and beating off all the other demons and punch him and whatever. He breathes fire. He's got super strength, super speed, hearing. He's overall, he's just a tank. Healing factor. And even then, he's not afraid of pain because he's a demon. So, he gets off on pain to the sense of, you cut me? Oh, that felt good. All right, let me keep punching you. That's his mentality.
Right.
He's got energy blast, psychokinesis, hellfire projection, flame breath, precognition. He does have magic. And you find out where he falls in the scale, let's just say, of the hot realm. Let's just call it that way, HE double hockey sticks. We'll call it the hot realm. So down in the hot realm where Etrigan is from, he's not just any demon. He's there on the chart. of who he should be. And I think people have done some good things over the years. So with that, Merlin turns around and he says, okay, you're here for now, but then when you go, you're going to wander Earth until you're needed again. I'm going to bond you to somebody. So this way, and they're going to forget until you're called again in the future. And the person that Merlin bonds him to is Jason Blood. So once that fight is over, he's defended all he can hand. Merlin is gone. He kind of takes off. Morgan Le Fay says, okay, fine. He fights back their forces. And then he walks off as Etrigan the Demon's like, oh, should we go now? And he has a habit of rhyming when he talks. He didn't do it much in issue 1, but as times went on, he became a better rhymer. So he'll just rhyme when he talks. And then he calls, as you said it, Rod, he has a Hulk moment where he changes back from Etrigan back into Jason Blood, but he totally forgot that he was Etrigan the Demon. Now, the side is Jason Blood just became immortal. Yeah. Jason Blood. Okay, so he's a knight. He's immortal. He's roaming the earth. So here's a lot of things that have come out that I noticed comparisons now. He was Highlander before Highlander.
Very good deep cut. That's yeah. He was Highlander before Highlander. We'll have to put a pause on that one and come back on that one.
Especially when you read issues number 1 and 2. Because and this is just what I described is just the first 2-3 pages of issue 1. Because when you catch up with Jason Blood in the present day. Jason Blood is a demonologist. He has a friend in the UN, right? They're trying to set him up on a date. And it's first time his date comes over and she's like, hey, this is a nice apartment you have. Oh, I'm a demonologist. I also write books. And, this is what my expertise is in, of course, because Etrigan. And then she's looking at past pictures on the wall. And she's like, who's all these paintings of? Oh, ancestors. Yeah, ancestors. One's a pirate. One's during the Civil War. One, World War II. Yeah. These are just ancestors. And she makes a comment saying, ancestors. Wow, your genes are strong because they look dead on. Like she goes, if I didn't know better, I would say it's almost you posing for these pictures.
Oh, behave. No, that's right? No, that's impossible. It's family. Strong bloodline.
Strong bloodline. Exactly.
Thank you.
So he threw him out on that, and he was like, oh,
no.
Silly mortal. Okay. No. And he dismisses it as it goes on, but of course he gets called back. So that one reminded me of, so we have the Bruce Banner, Incredible Hulk duality. We've got the Highlander before Highlander thing in there. He's a knight. And over the years, centuries, he's learned magic. Like Jason Blood did not know magic. Etrigan knew magic. Because of their connection, they share memories. He starts to learn magic. And then he gets pulled into a couple of these crazy quest kind of, finding items. He's a Tomb Raider. He's a Lara Croft. He's a Indiana Jones before these characters are around fighting demons. Like, okay, if you watch the original The Omen series movies, all right, he would have been there. And then you find out little things like, and this is one writer's take was this is after the fact, which I still thought was kind of cool, that Etrigan, why did Merlin call him? Well, that's Merlin's half brother. Right? Because they always said that, Merlin's mom, I think, was a succubus, and so Merlin, so they kind of touch on that, from what we heard. And then to see, well, how tough is Etrigan? Well, how tough he is? You know who his father is? It's like, well, his father is I can't remember the name of his father, but so let's go down to the hot zone. And down there you got Beelzebub, right? You got Satan. So and there was another demon. So it kind of tied it that one of these demons is his brother, his dad, making, I think, like Beelzebub his other brother or his uncle, something like that. So yeah, he was up there with them. And they even took it further, saying Trigon, who shows up in the Teen Titans as Raven's dad, is also related to Etrigan the Demon. Okay. All right. Yeah. He ain't no low-level demon.
No, I'm about to say, he's top shelf. He's top shelf. He has connections, like 8 degrees of separation, literally down to like 3, down to 4. That's what I do notice that. So that was interesting when I read that as well earlier this week. Interesting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, some of it was, pre-crisis, during 52, post-crisis, whatever. These were little snippets here, but I thought all of that was really interesting. And over the years, again, kind of done his own thing. So he's been solo. He was part of the Justice League Dark. He was part of some other teams. So let's see here. So Justice League Dark, Demon Knights, Justice League United, and then Justice League. So you can even see him in the cartoons. He's got some roles in there in the Justice League Unlimited series. You could see him in the background. He doesn't do too much. And like the Demon Knights, that was its own comic book at one point, where it was like an old school version of the Justice League in medieval times. So Etrigan was the magic and the muscle for that team at the same time. All right. But I mentioned that he did this over dinner. Jack the King Kirby created this character over dinner. Over a dinner. He lost 2 projects and got this one over dinner. Everybody eat your vegetables.
Yeah. Nice.
That's all I gotta say. Have your vegetables, yo, because what did you do over dinner? I know I didn't create a character fleshed out that way with side characters and everything. I didn't. I know I didn't. But we're talking about it. This is where I think this character is so interesting. There's so many things you can happen with this character. I know we talked last week on Blue Devil, and we're like, but this one, oh
yeah. He has a lot of because of what he is. He's definitely, again, we're doing a special one this month on all magical, IPs and along that line. And you're right, Blue Devil didn't have a lot of meat. Etrigan is known to be a member of the Justice League in that regard. Like we said, we've seen him in Justice League Europe, Demon Knights, and whatever the case would be. But what I like about it is that they basically, the Justice League basically encompass like the dark arts in that sense. So you have Zatanna, you have Constantine. Etrigan is up there and being part of that wing of that separate division that is needed, because again, you have all the fighting and all the physicals and all that kind of stuff, but having an actual mystic art team, because we have characters right now utilizing them. So I like him because of the duality and having the fun of seeing Jason when he turns back to Jason. He's like, oh, what did this guy do to me now? What has he done? What type of situation has he put me in? Gives me that Bruce Banner type of like, oh, Hulk, what you put me in? I'm like, where am I now? Now it turns like the live show running around. Okay, he's not looking around for clothes, to repair himself. Actually,
no,
he doesn't have to worry about that.
No, magically he just gets his clothes back, so he's not running around in sweatpants.
Exactly, that's what I thought. But the fact is, like, he's now in situations like, okay, what happened here? Then he piecing it together, remembering, like, oh, right, okay, great. So it's fun. It's fun that you see the actions of one side, how the others, just like I said earlier, they're cohabitable with each other. Just like, okay, where did you put me in now? What have I done? And that you only call the demon when you need me. That's what he said. You only call me like the brute strength when you need a fight. You call upon me. I will deal with you later.
absolutely, man. He's good at what he does, and what he does is not nice, just like Wolverine, right? And then what was cool is that Jack
Nice.
Kirby even turned, sorry, Jack the King Kirby turned around and made a whole home, couple of lines to summon the demon, to add more to the mystique of the summoning creature. Like, you sit there and you look in the mirror and you say Candyman 5 times, he pops up. You go to sleep, you get Freddy, that pops up. You go by a lake, you're a teenage girl, well, you're gonna see Michael Myers. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. you know, and and he turned around. So the transform, he made an incarnation for him to transform from Jason Blood into the demon. And the fun part is at the beginning, if you read the early couple of issues, it wasn't even Jason Blood that would say it. Someone else would say it. So Jason would be somewhere like, oh, wait a minute, I think Jason's in trouble. And they would say the incarnation, and then all of a sudden Etrigan's there. It's like, maybe Jason was having some pie. Maybe he was eating the pie, and also he turned into the demon. Like, no, not now. No. So
Exactly.
what I
I'm
like
gonna wait
was
till
like totally.
no, go.
It was totally fleshed out. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
what it is that the thing is, at times as it gone on, you only had to say the last 2 lines for him to appear. It's almost like did Marvel with Shazam?
Right.
He-Man, I have the power. He had a mantra before He-Man. Come on. This is why Jack Kirby gets King put to his name. And I mean that all due respect, absolutely. So he came up with the whole thing of change, old form of man. Free the prince forever damned. Free the might from fleshly mere. Boil the blood in the heart of boil the blood in the heart for fire. Gone, old form of man, and rise the demon again. What? I know I messed reading it, but what? Okay, and then boom. So most of the time he just had to say, gone, old form of man, rise the demon Etrigan. And he would say just those 2 lines, he would pull up. The times he would say the whole rest of it. And then when he was done, it was, gone, be gone, O Etrigan, resume once more the form of a man. Oh, go now, O Etrigan, and rise again, or rise once more, the form of man. Since the battle's fought and won, Jason Blood with me is done. Bars! I got 99 problems and a demon ain't one. Hit me!
No, seriously, that's all it took. So I mean, it's interesting that it's funny that again someone else can control him and just basically turns him over. But again, they flush it out to make it easier. I don't know what to say. Etrigan is a great character. He's a great character, and I would say definitely with the dark aspect of DC, they're starting to flesh that out.
70s.
They need to bring him and add him to the list, add him to the short list, because that will just now we're able to accept those type of characters, those type of IPs. If you were to quote unquote see a demon on TV, people would be more like, okay, everybody hold on, let's find out what he's doing. Is he a good demon or a bad demon? Give us a second. Honey, just have the pitchfork ready just in case. Have it by the door. Oh, you good? Oh, he good. He all right, people. It's all right. He's a good guy.
The holy water. Put back the holy water.
Exactly. And for him, 2 things he don't like is holy water and iron. 2 of his weaknesses. His kryptonite is a freshly clean piece of iron out of holy water. That's all I'm just saying. Just dip it in there, like double the dosage. Dang, son.
Yeah, you good, man. You good. See, this is exciting to talk about. So here, let's break down some of the things here. So we got Jason Blood, we got Etrigan, we got the story, we got this all over dinner. This is where this character is created. We lost, the new gods. We lost Mr. Miracle, right? Forever people. Okay, fine, and they do come back. Okay, this character at the time stood out. because of the art style, the creativity. I think if
Mhm.
anyone but Jack Kirby did not start this character off, it would not have made such an impact. And, maybe some things would have got really cliche, and he didn't. He did not. So this is to show you the testament of his writing and artistic talent that I have to say on this. Now, we get to this part of the show where we got to do what we got to do. This whole show is about fan casting and saying how you want to see it. I'm gonna hit you off here, Rod. Rod, first and foremost, before we fan cast
Mm.
it, how would you like to see this adapted on today world? Oh, the glasses are off. You wiping brow. Here we
Woo!
go.
It's hard because you know me, I love the visuals, and I
Yes.
know it's not. I don't want to limit what he can do in regards to effects and everything like that.
Mm.
But the amount of effects and stuff that he can do can be done with CGI and everything like that. So I would like a live action.
Okay.
I think it will get more. It will give you that nice dark look, that dark type of underbelly look to make you think like, okay, it's not a kid show. Again, we've seen him. We've seen him in cartoons. We've seen him in film,
Yeah.
more animated film and stuff along that line.
Got it.
But we haven't seen him live, and I think with today's technology, you can get a very good facial recognition of a good, something to make you just in the point of being scary to give you like unnerve you and just like I may have to sleep with the lights on tonight type of scenario. But in the back of your mind, gotta remember, he's a good demon. He's a good demon. Yeah. Just gotta remember that.
Ooh.
So with that, I would definitely like to see a live action, and flesh out the story, because then you have the ability to, like I said in the beginning, and this is why I said this in the beginning, the context of Merlin, Camelot,
Mhm.
King Arthur,
Mhm.
seeing that animated, drawn cartoon is great.
Yeah.
I feel people will get a better pull, a better realization. I'm thinking like, can this actually possibly happen? Although we know this is for the DC universe, but if you see that real life, you're going to start thinking twice, 3 times. People will be doing some hard research and just making sure. I just need to validate: did this actually happen? Because there's still the rumors about was there an actual Merlin or not type of scenario.
Yeah, of
But
course.
if you,
Did Camelot exist
but
or
that's
not?
what I'm saying. But if people, the lore of it now, that people are still, after many years, decades, still thinking like, was Merlin real or was Merlin not real? You know what I mean? Was the sword, that type of scenario? Give it to me in live action. You will now be able to easily just slip that folder of Etrigan right in there, be like, yeah, that can make sense. That can make possible sense. Now, for me, who I wanted to do that,
It's
I wanted someone, because if you think of Jason Blood, he's an established person. He's basically shown as a gentleman who is, seasoned. Someone
right.
you see, there's some age on you, but you've seen
Right.
some stuff, and you've thrown down, and you like, don't worry about the pictures on the wall of all the people who resembles slightly like me. It's not me. So, with all that to say, I would like to see Jude Law. I would like to see Jude Law. I wanted something slightly different. I will admit I had someone else in my head earlier, and then when I thought, and I was like, you know what? No, I don't want just the obvious person to take that role. Jude Law will just be the type of person that make you think like, yeah, Judd could do this. Judd could do this. He'd be able to give you the charismatic type of character. Because when you see in the first few issues, basically you see Jason, he's a very debonair type of individual.
Yes.
Debonair type of individual, person who's of a upper class, of a higher stature type of scenario.
Okay. Yeah.
So I can see Jude Law giving that portrayal. We've seen him do stuff like that. So it's like for me to start pulling that up, it'll take a long time because he gives you that persona and he has that ability to give you the I'm fighting something. I'm fighting something within that you all don't know. You don't know the struggles I've been holding back.
Okay.
Literally.
Okay.
So I think I would like to see Jude Law portray as Jason Blood, aka Etrigan. And here's a scenario. I want him to also do the voice.
Yes.
So now we're gonna have a darker, a heavier. So I don't want another voice actor to do. I want to do the same thing like Tom Hardy. When Tom Hardy did Venom.
Venom? Okay, yeah.
He
makes more sense.
He did yourself, and he did the voice of Venom. So I would like Jude Law to be Jason Blood, and as well, because when he has to now get a little dark and dirty and just have the very old English dialect.
Okay, right.
I can see him just putting that in and just putting his elbow into that and be like, oh, if the rare time that you have the opportunity to just go full old English and just give us the, oh, I think I should be scared. Yeah. You should be. Jude Law is bringing the law on you. He's bringing the hammer of the law of the demon. Superfoot on you.
That one's for Kevin. Superfoot.
Right on.
Right on, man. Pretty boy Kevin. Right on. All right, I like that. I like that. So now you're saying live action. Okay, so now you kind of dance around it. Live action, what? Are you talking series, movie?
My apologies.
Streaming service?
You know what? I was going so deep into that. I would like a movie because with the movie aspect of it, I want to be able to trilogy into or just basically open the windows where now he can guest into Constantine and then basically open up the door, doing similar like Marvel did with the one adaptation of different characters, whatever. Later on, we're going to lead into the Dark Justice.
Yes, Justice League Dark. Okay, see, we're on the same page. We're on the same page. And keep in mind, we haven't talked beforehand of what we wanted to see. Like as usual, we just come up with ideas, we kind of pitch it, and that's that. It's okay. So I like what you're doing. So you got Jude Law, as your, Etrigan The Demon. That's where you're going. Jason Blood, got it. Movie. Okay. So here's maybe because we're family, we're too similar at times, and it is what it is. So one, I agree with you on your points, all your points. I'm not going to turn around and discredit you. I agree with each and every single of your points. Now, usually I'm Mr. Let's do a series. Let's flesh it out. This time, I think we can really go for a movie, especially after watching a movie like Aquaman with Jason Momoa, the first one, and saw how they built that world. There was a lot of CGI involved into it, and I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying they built it up really nice. That if you give me something very similar showing Camelot at that point, very big open battle scene. I saw how they did Wonder Woman with the Amazons on Themyscira. Okay, give me something along those lines. I want to see Camelot, the fall of Camelot, treated the same way, going through and following Jason Blood and his whole thing. Now, and I'll wrap it up. Two, the movie would set up to open up for other characters. So the first one has definitely got to be about Etrigan The Demon, his place in the DCU, how he fits in, and then go from there to have a solo adventure, keep it open, like you said, bring in Constantine, bring in Zatanna, bring in some of the other demons, and who's within that part of the world. And if it had to be a trilogy, so first one is on Etrigan. The second one, you're bringing in certain people he's got to deal with, maybe something from his past. The third one, you have, in my opinion, I would love to see Batman come in. Why? Because Etrigan is located in Gotham City. At one point, they're going to cross. So you bring in Etrigan, you bring in Constantine, Zatanna, who's not been cast yet, and a couple of other the magic users, magic element, Swamp Thing, right? And you bring in some of these people, even Blue Devil. You bring it because Blue Devil later on becomes really serious. I know when we talked about him, he was like, but he gets a lot more in depth. So you bring those characters in, and then give me Ben Affleck to play Batman, because since Ben Affleck was the Batman in the Justice League, you give me that Batman to make a Justice League Dark with And of course, have him there as a smaller role because it's a Etrigan movie. Don't have it overshadow the moment.
Mm-hmm.
The person I want to play Jason Blood / Etrigan would be Damian Lewis. Right. That actor was, I think, in Succession or yeah. He's an English actor. He's kind of got reddish hair. He's a little bit older, but Damian Lewis, I think it was either Succession or Bill. Yeah. So he already has that throat kind of dry persona at times. He already can deliver it. I could just say, give him the white streak in his hair, put the suit on him. To me, that is right now, that is Jason Blood. That is a man that looks like he would have been there in Camelot. That is a man that looks like he would have gone through and fought demons until his story is being told and what we see it, and then give it to me on the big screen. This most of the time, you're like, give me a series, and no. Put this on the big screen, right? If we're looking at 14 issues of the original work, and then of course other writers got into it, no, we want to base that as much as possible. So the first one's got to be dealing with the demon, remnants of Morgan Le Fay. Then Morgan Le Fay comes back with Mordred and something else, and he needs some help, and he goes and gets intertwined with that. And he's already got a good cast of characters in the original series that can help out. Like, let's keep him still tied to the UN. We haven't had a DC character on the big screen tied to the UN really as prominent as he has been in the book. So let's kind of keep those ties. That's who I'm going with, Damian Lewis, to play Etrigan the Demon. Boom. That's Jason Blood. And just like you were saying, don't get another actor to do the voice. Let him still do the voice in a different tone, but give me yay old English. And because Damian Lewis is a trained thespian actor from the UK, he can do it. He can do it. I could see him with a sword in hand and a suit on. He can do it. He don't even make him hide the accent. No. Don't give him no English accent. I mean, North American accent. He's got to be, And of course, coming from the TV show, I think it's Succession, where it's just like billionaire or billions or
billions. Yeah.
Right. Billions. So sorry, he's on billions, right?
Yep.
So he's on one of those shows dealing with big money, corporate dealing big money. Okay. A sword in his hand, telling me he fights demons. Keep that kind of same energy to it and action.
Yeah, that sounds good. Like, he is, like I said, he's done enough stuff to make you that he can be definitely on the short list to portray that. I like that as well, because like me, having Judd, who's someone who is, who's British, who's from England, so you don't have to, like, I don't want no one different. I want to let's have someone, a native in that sense. You know what I mean? So I don't want you to come and try to switch your tone, switch your dialect to be another place. No, let's be original on that. Let's, have the opportunity and just speak as you would when you've gone back home to see the folks. Let's go.
And if you read that first two issues of The Demon by Jack Kirby, you realize that supporting characters were a mix of different races and backgrounds. So there was representation in there with people already. If you want to even put it a little bit more, you can, but I think it was a good start. It was a good mix. So that's my two things on that. So Rod, as I said, I tell all the people, make sure you subscribe to the channel. But on last notes, how are we going to wrap up this show, Rod? What's your last thoughts on this? Any or points?
Listen, my point. The points are that I have is that Etrigan is a unique character, and as we said, if we're going to start building into the dark lore of DC and going for like the Justice League dark aspect of it, he's a great character to bring in, because if you're going to show something that is from a dark mystic world type of scenario, not every individual is going to be representing as human. And that's one thing that I like, that there's the Swamp Thing in the dark, the Justice League dark aspect of it. But if you're going to have a demon, and you have a demon who's actually who's on the side of good, that's a whole different aspect you don't normally see. So yeah, I would like to see that and take that in. I think that it'll do wonders. People will actually like it.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you. My last thoughts I said, hey, give us the movie. There you go. It's past it. It's either Jude Law or Damian Lewis. These are our picks for Etrigan the Demon from DC. Thank you, Mr. Jack Kirby, for all you've done. And on that note, as I said before, subscribe to our channel. Keep it growing. Let us know. Reach out. Let us know. We asked you before, comic book stores and all that stuff. And thank you so much for tuning in for another year that we've been going through this on their weekly little podcast corner here. And on that note, remember, this whole world was started with a pencil, a piece of paper, and lots of imagination. And sometimes it happens over dinner. This has been the iConis podcast. My name is Barry Carter, along with
DJ Rod C. Hey.
And that is our show for today.
There you go. Gone form of mind. Rise the demon estrogen. Getting hot in here, isn't it? Being a little
warming up. I don't know. Maybe you should turn on the AC, dude.